The rain streaked across the viewport of my cramped shuttle, turning the outside of the research station on Epsilon 9 into a blurry canvas of gray and green. I gripped the edge of my console as the storm rattled the craft, my heart hammering with more than just turbulence. I had been sent here to investigate a series of mysterious energy spikes emanating from the abandoned colonies on the planet's northern hemisphere. Nothing could have prepared me for what, or who, I would encounter. That's when I first saw her. I was trudging through the narrow corridors of the derelict station, my flashlight slicing through decades of dust and decay. It was then that a soft laugh echoed from the far end, a melodic sound so out of place in this abandoned wasteland that I froze. "Hello," I called out cautiously, the echo of my voice bouncing off rusted metal walls. She emerged from the shadows, a figure slender and impossibly graceful, with dark hair clinging to her pale face from the mist inside the station. Her eyes, a startling shade of violet, met mine. And then she laughed again. "Do you always wander into haunted stations on stormy planets?" she said, her tone teasing but not unkind. I blinked, unsure whether I should be alarmed or intrigued. I'm here to investigate the energy spikes," I said, trying to regain some semblance of authority. "Are you alone?" She tilted her head, letting her laughter bubble up again. "Alone? On a planet like this? Hardly. But most wouldn't survive long enough to meet me." There was a playful menace in her words that sent a shiver down my spine. Something about her was wrong, but wrong in a way I couldn't look away from. For the next several hours, she taunted me through the station. Every time I tried to get closer, she would vanish like smoke, only to reappear moments later in places I never expected, behind a console, leaning out of a ventilation shaft, or even reflected in cracked monitors that should have been dead. Each time, she laughed. I began to realize that her laughter wasn't just amusement. It was a warning. And despite the danger, I couldn't stop following her. Finally, in what appeared to be the control center, I cornered her. My breath fogged in the cold air as I stepped closer. "You can't keep hiding," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Whatever you are, I need answers." She regarded me silently for a long moment, her violet eyes narrowing, and then, with a fluid motion, she approached. Her presence felt like gravity itself, pulling at my mind and chest in equal measure. "I suppose it's time," she said softly. "Time for the truth." Before I could respond, she reached up and pressed her hand to her forehead. Light exploded behind her eyes, the air around us shimmering as if the very fabric of reality bent to her will. I stumbled backward, shielding my eyes. When the brilliance faded, she was gone, replaced by a holographic projection of herself, impossibly tall, with markings that glowed faintly along her skin. "I am not what you think I am," she said, her voice echoing in 1,000 harmonics. "I am the last surviving envoy of the Eldari, guardians of the universe's hidden knowledge. I was sent here to observe, to test, and to protect." My mouth went dry. "Eldari," I whispered. The Eldari were myth, legends passed down through centuries, believed to be extinct after the Great Collapse. No human had ever encountered one. She stepped forward, and the projection dissolved, revealing her true form. Her human guise was gone. She radiated energy, her form simultaneously organic and crystalline, shifting and refracting light like a living prism. I realized, with a jolt, that all her laughter, all her games, had been a test of my courage and curiosity. "You laughed at me," I said, barely able to keep my voice steady. "All this time you were testing me?" She smiled, a gesture that was more felt than seen, resonating deep within my mind. "Not laughing at you, laughing with you, in a sense." Only those who can face fear, who can remain steadfast in the unknown, may know the truths I carry. I staggered back, overwhelmed, the boundaries between science and legend collapsing around me. Why reveal yourself now? Because the energy spikes you followed are not random, she explained, extending a crystalline limb that interacted with the station's ancient consoles. Data streamed into the air around us, forming luminous constellations. The collapse did not destroy everything. Some knowledge survived, and it calls for someone to continue its protection. You, human, have been chosen by chance or by destiny. I cannot say which. I wanted to argue, to run, but my curiosity rooted me in place. Chosen? Me? Yes, she said, and the air pulsed with power. Your courage, your intellect, your willingness to pursue the unknown, these are rare qualities. You may either be the catalyst for renewal or its undoing. For hours that felt like both an instant and eternity, she revealed the secrets of the Eldari. Civilizations that had risen and fallen in galaxies I had only ever glimpsed in textbooks. Devices capable of bending space and time. The untold histories of species lost to the void. Each revelation left me trembling, not from fear, but from awe. When the data finally receded, leaving the station dark and silent once more, I turned to her. I don't know what to say. She laughed softly, the sound now tinged with warmth. You don't have to say anything yet. Knowledge is a seed. Let it grow before you speak. But you must leave soon, before the storms trap you here. And know this, should you fail, the universe will not forgive ignorance. I nodded, overwhelmed. How will I ever repay you for this revelation? You do not repay me, she said, now stepping back toward the shimmer of the storm outside. You honor the universe by living, by questioning, by protecting. That is enough. I watched her vanish into the tempest, leaving only the echo of her laughter and the lingering shimmer of Eldari energy. Alone in the control center, I realized my life would never be the same. Every discovery I made, every choice I faced from that moment on, would carry the weight of her revelation. The journey back to my ship was quiet, almost reverent. The storm still raged outside, but inside me, there was a new kind of calm, a sense that I was now part of something far larger than I had ever imagined. I thought about her laughter, once mocking, now comforting, and wondered how many others like me might be chosen across the stars. Weeks passed after I returned to Earth. I documented everything I had experienced, careful to avoid revealing her true identity to those who might exploit it. But even in the routine of daily life, I found traces of her influence everywhere, in the way I approached research, in how I solved problems, in the courage I now felt to face impossible odds. Then, one evening, as I was cataloging data from the Epsilon 9 mission, my terminal flickered. The screen shimmered, and for a split second, her face appeared, smiling. You are ready, she said, her voice carrying through the digital pulse, softer than the memory of her laughter. And then she was gone. I understood then that the universe had not abandoned me, nor had it left me untested. And somewhere out there, among the stars, the last of the Eldari still watched, waiting for those willing to see beyond the veil of reality. And as I closed the terminal and looked out at the night sky, I whispered to myself, I will not disappoint her. Because in the end, the laughter that once mocked me had become a guiding light, and the shock of her true identity had opened a door I could never close.